Folks, welcome into the first episode of Trainwreck Fantasy Baseball. Wait here. It's been a long time since you've seen anything come out of here. We got a lot of stuff. Basketball DFS. Got football stuff gearing up for the NFL draft. A lot of content coming out. But for now, baseball season is a week in the books. And I have a confession to make as a fantasy baseballer. I view the MLB only in a fantasy spectrum. And that's a fault of mine. So that's why I'm really excited to have Joe Conzi here, revolutionizing the Trainwreck Sports website and doing so much more behind the scenes that people really should appreciate. And Long Island Nick, two Yankee fans here. Now, guys, I'm going to turn it over to you real quick because there is some housekeeping things to deal with the Yankees, kind of. Aaron Judge, weird injury. Conzi, I saw you tweeting about it earlier. What do we know about the Yankees, or about Judge's injury? How is it going to affect the lineup, and what can fantasy owners take away?
First of all, I want to say something to Long Island Nick because I don't think people realize this. Long Island Nick and I have never actually sat in the same room, and it's not just because we're Yankee fans. We think on the same wavelength, and if we ever disagree, we don't ever get mad at each other. It's really weird. Like, it's the first person I met that's a Yankee fan that I don't have to argue to prove my Yankee fanhood. He just knows. He just knows. Nick, it's a pleasure, man. We did 60 Days of Summer with a short season last year. It's good to see you, man. It's always good. You're a breath of fresh, and I love talking baseball with you. So welcome back, dude. Like, I'm so fired up.
Mm-hmm. Dude, likewise. I'm pumped. I mean, honestly, there was times last year in 60 Days of Summer that we were literally finishing each other's sentences. And to your point, we've never been in the same room. We got to change that. I know COVID threw a wrench in that in the beginning and stuff. You know, we're all getting to that point where we're starting to pause a little bit. We gotta get a drink, probably at Casey's Black Rock, huh?
That's where I'm at right now, because that's where I work and I do these shows when I'm on breaks and things like that. So shout out to my boss Vinny for letting me do that. But Jake, to kind of dive into Aaron Judge, It's not an oblique injury, which is good because we all know how oblique injuries happen. We saw George Springer in Toronto, who's on my fantasy baseball team, who I have fingers crossed because I am a huge George Springer fan despite everything with the Astros. I think he's a great baseball player, one of the best all-around baseball players. Oblique injuries could take a long time to heal. I guess my concern with Aaron Judge is that he's like a glass action figure. Like, I feel like, and my friend said it to me in a text today, that with how big he is, he might just not be an everyday baseball player. And that's fine, but in a contract year, it concerns me as a Yankee fan. There's a lot of time and money invested in him, and there's a lot of time and money invested in fantasy players. Like, when you have a chance to draft this guy in your fantasy baseball draft, are you going to pass up on him? No, he hit 2 home runs last night. He's a guy you want in your fantasy baseball team. So from a Yankees fan standpoint, you're concerned for the future, but from a fantasy baseball standpoint, well, you used a pretty high pick on him, and
premium asset.
So Nick, I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm not out on Judge. if you're going to make him not an everyday outfielder, you got to find someone else to fill that role so he can kind of get his rest.
It's really a tough spot to be in, Cons, because at the end of the day, obviously I'm a Yankees fan. I don't want to sound too biased, but I'm hoping he pulls through this. But that 6'7" build. Is it built for baseball, And
he's one of those guys, his build, you would think he was, you see him in the graphic, drafted to the NFL and the MLB, one of those guys.
Right. Sure. He's like your Dave Winfield kind of guy. Yeah, you're right. And this is a guy that probably could have gotten drafted as a basketball and football player because he was pretty damn good at both as well. But, at the end of the day, the biggest downfall for Judge, in my opinion, is how hard he plays. And when you're that big, it's hard to play that hard. And you're not going to stop him from doing that. He almost has like Mike Trout syndrome or Ken Griffey Jr. syndrome, where if there's a ball that's going to be if there's a ball that's going to be at the wall, he's going to face first into it. He did it last year in the playoffs. So I know this isn't necessarily a result of that, but you got to think about all the miles he's putting on his body, and he really hasn't been around that long. So I'm hopeful. I'm not ready to pull the panic button or press the panic button right now. I say, obviously, you got to hold on to him. To your point, Wade, he's a high commodity. He's a high draft pick. You got to hang on to your guy, right?
He could swing a bat. Like, that's the thing. Like, yes, there's times I want to put my fist through the TV when he watches a third strike come down the middle of the plate, and I text every Yankee fan I know and say, what is he doing? But you know what? At the end of the day, and I say it, Nick, I'm using your saying. At the end of the day, he's Aaron freaking Judge. You know,
Yeah.
he's Aaron freaking Judge.
I think the worst part about this is that if you could put 155 games or 145 games, and you can guarantee me that, I go to the sports book right now, and I put money on Aaron Judge to be the MVP, because when he's consistent, he's putting up consistent numbers on a World Series caliber team.
Yeah,
you just got to stay healthy, man.
Sure.
Yeah. Now, God forbid he doesn't stay healthy. You know, I'm an active Yankee hater. Cons learned that very quickly on the first day when I bet against the Yankees and won.
I'm not a fan of that.
But let's say
you're lucky. You're lucky. I love you because I was so mad.
I'm lucky for that and a lot of other reasons, Conzi, believe me. But let's say that Aaron Judge does miss time. Are there people in the Yankees lineup, maybe in the prospects pool for them, that can like you can't fill that void completely, but people that can step up and provide that power that he does to the lineup?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple people, you know, coming up to the ranks. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, but is Thairo Estrada, is he kind of a floater?
He's mostly an infielder. They just sent him down to bring in Rougned Odor. It's tough, you know, and you also don't want to be playing with these guys, you know.
I got one guy, not to point my finger up here. That was really rude, Nick. But
we would like you to raise your hand, Cons. Be a little more respectful.
The one thing that I will say that I like about this Yankee team that's coming up, not ready yet, but Jason Dominguez, the Martian. Yes. So I think everybody's kind of waiting for him to take the next step, but you know, we look at Judge and he's hurt now. Like, who's going to fill in now? Well, they've got Frazier, they've got Gardner. They could bring off the bench. They could shift guys around. They're fine now. I think that if Judge can't stay healthy, there's guys in the pipeline like Dominguez that can step up in that role. And people don't realize this, but this kid can hit the freaking baseball.
Oh, God.
Like better than Aaron Judge. Now, when I say Aaron Judge in half the height, maybe not half the height, but a little shorter. This guy is everything is advertised, and it takes a great scout to find these guys. Nick, you know, baseball-wise, we talked all last season about Luis Robert. You know I'm a huge Luis Robert fan of the Chicago White Sox. You have to send your best freaking scout to find these guys, and they found the guy in the Martian, Jason Dominguez. So there's guys in this pipeline that can do it. I think Dominguez is going to be that guy eventually, but I think for now you could slide Frazier over to right field and kind of put Gardner in center and figure it out from there.
I'm with you, Conzi. And, you know, Dominguez is interesting, right? Is he even 18 yet? I mean, he might have just turned 18.
He's like Alfonso Soriano. They found him at 15. He's just been in America or training or whatever since he was 15.
He's been in the Yankees. Dude, he got drafted like 4 days after he turned 14. Not drafted, picked up. The kid's a freak. And they call him a Martian for a reason. He's literally from a different planet. I mean, you're looking at a guy who's probably not done growing yet. He's got a baseball player's build. He's had it since he's 14. He's got an incredible arm. He hits from both sides of the plate with power. He hits for contact. He's got burning speed. Now, I think we're a little ahead of ourselves. I don't think he's the guy that's going to come up and do this. But at the end of the day, I'm glad you brought him up. He's exciting. He is so damn exciting to watch. But to your point, Conzi, I think what we saw from Gardner last night. Now, Booney putting him in the 3 spot made me want to pull my hair out. And you know I got to watch here.
Dude, Nick, I text you. I said, what is going on? Why is he in the 3 spot? We love him, but why is Gardy in the 3 spot?
Right. Hey, you know what? He showed out. And you know, Booney, he makes some weird moves. When they don't work, we crucify him. But when they do, we kind of go with it, you know? I'll give him credit. It was a good move. So, listen, Clint Frazier's got all the power in the world, in my opinion. He's got one of the quickest bats I've ever seen. I mean, that kid's bat is quick. So if you have an outfield of Gardner, Frazier, Hicks, who I hope he figures it out, and then, you know, rotate Stanton in and out, we could weather the storm.
Before we get into our next question, Wake, when we say quick bat, when we say faster the zone, because I feel like sometimes we use these baseball terminology. For those that just play baseball, not saying you don't know this, Wake, but like just to kind of when we're saying how quickly you could get the bat from A to Z. Like, from here to here, how quick? Like, we're talking, like, fast. Like, hands inside the ball, bring him inside, get inside the ball, and hit it. Like, that's what we're talking about. We say fast bat speed, bats whipping through the zone. So, you guys can go on to, like, any website and talk about bat speed. And I'll actually post in my next article I write about bat speed. I'll do a little thing for everybody. We'll post it on trainwrecksports.com on where you can find bat speeds, because there's a lot of fantasy players coming up. Wake, I know we have a lot to talk about.
We do.
So I'm going to let you get to it.
Yeah, but you make a good point that there are a lot of terms that you might use, I might use, Nick is going to use, that we might not even know. And so as we say those, let's not be afraid to just throw the vocab out there.
Sure.
So that, this can be like an educational forum for all of us. And speaking of education, I got a really, really, really interesting word for you guys. It's sublaction. I still don't really know what it means, but what it means for us is that it's not good. And what it means is that Fernando Tatis is going to be out for a significant amount of time with a shoulder subluxation. That's how you say it. So, we want to talk about some guys coming into, that you can get off the waiver wire. Maybe you might have on your lineup that can step in and give you some production. But, how bad is this for the Padres? This could not be worse. As if 2021 and 2020, 2021's shaping up to be a better year right now because sports are going a little better mostly. But, it's not great for one of the best young stars in baseball to go out a week into the season.
I have my hands over my mouth right now because I think I text Long Island Nick and I said, with the second pick in the draft, I took Fernando Tatis Jr. because Long Island, but you know how much I love this Padres team. I have a shirt in my car right now I can go get that says, "Never apologize," with a 3-0 in it, because that grand slam is everything that I want in a short. I loved it, but
1,000,000%.
Ty B just commented in here and said it's a partial dislocation. It is.
Partial
so he may not be out long.
Ty B is our resident word guy at Trainwreck Sports.
Yes.
He knows all words.
We got to get Ty B on the show.
He is.
We got to get Ty B on the show.
And we will. But that hurt me so bad in the heart because that's my second pick in the draft. That's a guy that I invested my fantasy baseball team. If I'm a GM and he goes down, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
You want to know why? And I'll get to it. If you want to know who my replacement is, I'll say it right now. You guys want to know?
Go for it.
I was lucky enough to get Javier Baez for the Chicago Cubs. A lot of people are a little out on Javier Baez and the Cubs right now because they're still trying to figure out where they're going to go from it. They got that World Series victory, but then they're kind of riding the wave right now. So I thought Javier Baez would be a good fill-in. He has been, but he's no Fernando Tatis Jr. Okay, we know that, but
Fernando Tatis Jr.
There is no other Fernando Tatis. He's better. I think he's going to end up being better than his father. I mean, it doesn't take much. I don't think. It's a respectable career, but I think Javier Baez is a good fill-in. That if you could get him on your waiver, if you have him on your bench, put him in the lineup. You have to. But I was heartbroken because that's my guy. I'm going to ride or die with Fernando Tatis Jr. until the end of his career. That 13, 14-year career that he's going to have with the Padres. I love that squad. Love them so much. So.
I'm also a Yankee hater, Ty B, and I'm not a Judge fantasy owner, so I am in the perfect camp right here. Long Island Nick, your Fernando Tatis replacement, if there could be one.
So you can't replace a Fernando Tatis. You just can't do it, right? Kanzi, you and I love this guy. I mean, we talked about him a lot, and it hurt to see that. It really did. I'm going to fill you guys in if you don't know, and I think you guys do know. Most of the people watching this do know about a young kid coming up in the Tampa Bay Rays organization. Should be up in about a week or two.
The number one rated prospect in their organization. Go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
In the league.
In the league. Sorry.
So you know who he's talking about. Okay.
Yes.
Wander Franco. Okay? Wander Franco, people. If you haven't heard of him, get to know the kid. He's 20 years old. He has a plus arm. He's got plus speed. Stolen base threat anytime on the bases. He's got power. He is a switch hitter with power from both sides. He's a contact hitter when he needs to be. The kid's a phenomenal ball player. He will be up within the next 2 weeks. He's not up yet, but I'm saying in the next 7 to 10 days, he will be on the roster. He is that good. Yep. And he's a guy that, for the next 7 to 10 days, you might have to pencil someone in there that you might not want to be in there. Mm-hmm. Grab this guy if he's available because he is a bona fide superstar in the making.
Yep, and Ty V commented, scoop Jake Cronenworth. That's actually a great call also in the Padres organization. He might not be the immediate answer at shortstop. They do have another prospect-ish type player in Ha-Seong Kim. who might be taking, it looks like it'll be him and Cronenworth splitting those opportunities at least early on. But one of them is going to win that spot. And if you get either of them, that Padres lineup, it's still a good lineup. They're still surrounded by good talent where, they could get some RBIs, they could get some runs, people batting them in. My guy that I'm going to, and I actually added him at shortstop last night, or this morning, I'm sorry, and I didn't have a Tatis injury, and that's Andrelton Simmons. He's never been a power guy. And, when I say power guy, understand that if you do categories for fantasy baseball, there are power categories, there are contact categories. It's important knowing what you need. So if you have a lot of singles, Kanzi's having a good time over there. If you have a lot of singles,
it's pumping like the Jersey Shore.
No, DJ LeMayo just had a base hit, and it was a beautiful piece of hitting, but go ahead.
DJ
LeMayo. But so the power's not there with Simmons, really, but he's in a really strong Minnesota Twins lineup, very, very strong. And right now he's just at the end of it. He's in the 8th spot, and he's still off to a great start. He's not going to be hitting that, that 385, what he's doing now all season. Regression, hitters always have pitchers' numbers at the beginning of the year. That always kind of balances out. Kanzi, I'll get to you in a sec.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but, Mitch Garver, the catcher, is the guy leading off right now. He's batting 200. He has just as many strikeouts, only one walk over the first couple of things here. Exactly, Nick. I see a complete switch between Simmons and Garver there. And get more runs for Simmons. He's speedy. He's going to get stolen bases, too. And he's only rostered right now 6% of leagues on Yahoo. I don't get that. I understand him not getting drafted, but I don't know how he's still that unrostered. Cons, what were you?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get excited, but you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Didi Gregorius. And, Didi Gregorius was the type of guy that when the Yankees picked him up, not to bring everything back to the Yankees, but this was a guy that was supposed to be just a defensive guy that they didn't know about his bat too much. It was the guy can hit the baseball, but we don't know. And then here's Didi Gregorius, who I miss dearly so much, with all due respect to Gleyber Torres. If we could put Gleyber Torres at second and get Didi back tomorrow, I would do it in a heartbeat. But I think what people didn't realize was that Didi Gregorius' bat came around because that short porch in right field, and this team started to excel. And I think Simmons is a similar player, where great defensive player, but every now and then you get those flashes of a hit streak. Yeah. So I can't agree with you more. If you're out there and you see Simmons on your fantasy waiver wire, pick him up, because not only is he great, he could get on base, he steals bags, he scores runs. He's a guy you want, especially if you're in a category league. If you're in a category league, that's a guy you want in your squad to get you runs, average, RBIs, and runs scored.
Yeah. Now, he won't make up for Tatis's home runs. Let me make that clear. You need to have other players that can get you the home runs.
Exactly.
He's not that power player. He's a contact guy. He's good average, low amount of strikeouts, high amount of walks, singles. Right. So, if that's what you need, great. If not, then maybe go elsewhere. Maybe we'll put some articles out about different types of players that you can add. But that could be a topic for another day. Nick, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, along with Didi Gregorius, he kind of reminds me of, maybe dating myself, and he's a Rafael Furcal kind of guy. He came up with a pellet gun for an arm. I mean, he had the best arm at short there was, besides maybe A-Rod. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, he started slapping the ball all over the field. So,
yeah, sure.
I'm with you, Wake. Great pick there, man.
Appreciate that. And, the last thing I wanted to say there is, he's just – and something that's really valuable for me as a fantasy player is guys who are elite defenders, too. Yep. Because if you can defend, you'll probably stay in the lineup, even through your toughest streaks. Maybe you'll get a day off here and there, but they need you out on the field. Andrelton Simmons, if he goes through a rough stretch and everything, he might be the best defending shortstop in the entire MLB right now. So it's that's a lot of stuff to say, but when you look for guys who you want to stick in your lineup, there you go. And Richie Stevenson saying his favorite replacement is Isaiah Kinner-Falefa. I can never get through three names with a hyphen in there.
Great contact guy.
He literally does slap. Not to use the term, he slaps.
Literally
slaps. Man. He literally slaps.
Both words.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, we're at the beginning of the fantasy baseball season, so a big thing people are doing right now is trying to figure out who on their rosters are going to stay, who they should try to trade and drop. There are guys that we think that you can buy low or sell high on right now. And Cons, we'll start with the buy lows. We'll start with you. Who is one guy that you think that is an interesting buy low candidate just a week into the season?
All right, so last season I talked a lot about how the Padres didn't know what their identity was on the pitching mound.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have a lot of guys. Well, here we are. It's 2021 season. They've got Ian Snell, former Cy Young Award winner, who got the ball taken away from him in the World Series, which was a dumb thing. We can go on a whole tangent, a whole nother episode. I hate Kevin Cash. You'll understand that. So here we are. There's that. But you've got Snell. You got Clevenger, who's out right now, but he's going to be on that staff. You've got Yu Darvish, and there's a guy that's waiting in the wings here, a guy who's pitched real well. Joe Musgrove. Musgrove has a high upstruck with the Padres, and the thing is you gotta look at this, man. Like, this guy, Joe Musgrove, like, people don't know about this. I just picked him up. Excuse me. He had 8 Ks in his Padres debut. And he was a childhood Padres fan who attended Grossmont High School in San Diego. So you're talking, not only are you getting a pitcher that had 8 Ks in his Padres debut, and Long Island Nick knows how much I love pitchers. Bieber was my guy. He's still my guy. He had 12 Ks in his recent stays. But anyways, I have Bieber fever. But Musgrove is my new guy. Yeah, he is the best Bieber. But he tossed 6 shutout innings. He had 8 Ks in his Padres debut. What more could you ask for from this guy? If you're looking for a guy in your rotation to put in there that's going to give you the next bump there in your fantasy baseball league, Joe Musgrove's the guy. That pitching staff is finding its identity, and it's scaring the crap out of everyone else in the NL. I don't think anyone's touching the Dodgers right now, but I think the Padres are a team you're going to want to look for their pitching staff in the next couple of years, especially with Snell, and when Clevenger comes back, it's going to be 1-2. It's going to be Murderer's Row, but for pitching.
Yep.
It's incredible.
100%.
Nick, over you. You're buy low for this week so far.
Buy low. So you touched on him a little while ago, and it's going to kind of confuse because I obviously picked a different shortstop to fill Tatis' shoes. Mm-hmm. But Ha-Seong Kim is the guy to buy low. He really is. He is a guy that maybe hasn't had the success at the major league level just yet. Not the high success that was expected of him, but in the KBO, he was a stud. And just to kind of look at some stats, I mean, he played last year pretty much the whole season. He's a guy that put up 30 homers last year, 19 the year before, 20 the year before that. He's a consistent 300 hitter. I mean, 306, 307, 288, 302.
Yeah, what he can do with stolen bases, too. I'm looking now. He had 134 stolen bases in his time over there. More home runs. He had 1 more stolen base than home runs over there. That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, if you look at it that way, you got, the little bit of power that you need from a shortstop. And, I mean, at the end of the day, you have your freaks out there, right? You have your Tatis, which, unfortunately is hurt. Those are freaks. Yep. Shortstop, they're supposed to be contact hitters with good speed. Tatis has everything. But at the end of the day, this guy's got contact and speed, but he brings a little bit of power to the plate. If he can figure it out at the major league level, this is a guy you buy low, and you know what? You might see him go on a couple-game hit streak, or you might see him put a couple out in a week. And, at the end of the day, if I said at the end of the day, Conzi.
I love it. I've been taking sips of beer every time he's been saying it, folks. I love this guy.
Nick, the funny thing is, he texted me when he and I were talking about putting the show together. He said he's going to say at the end of the day a lot.
I'm about to get drunk by how many times you've said it already.
Good thing you're in a bar, right?
Thank God they're not shots. Thank God they're not shots.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but Kim is the kind of guy that really can give you a ton of value, and he's not on a lot of rosters right now. So if he's still available in your league, buy that man. Buy him.
You have Richie Stevenson saying buy low Tyler Molly. I love Tyler Molly.
No, they cheat. They got Apple Watches. I'm kidding. Go ahead, Wake.
Yeah, they cheat. Okay, when we were putting together, we put together the group chat for this show this morning, pretty much. And the first, it took us less than 15 minutes to talk about how the Astros are babies for not thinking that people would forget that they stole a fucking World Series. People aren't gonna forget because there was a pandemic. This is still the worst thing that's happened in the past 2 years. Come on.
Oh
yeah.
All right, Richie. I love Tyler Molly. I do. And Ty V said Fantasy Hack Freddie Peralta listed as the relief pitcher, but starting for the Brewers. I had Freddie Peralta last year, and that is he went quick in my draft this year. He's a great player. If you can still get him, he's someone you have to add off your waiver wire.
Absolutely,
more pitchers to add from your waiver wire too in a little bit. My buy low, and I hate utility players. I really do. Like they serve just as a gap in your roster, and they limit roster construction. But I have guys like Tommy LaStella, just a bunch of guys who have multi-positional value. Where getting someone like the Yerminator Mercedes wouldn't be a bad idea. I love the name.
Wake, I love that. Wake, that was great.
I love the Yerminator.
I love that. That was great.
American Pie.
Tybee chiming back in. Peralta's only owned in 67.7% of ESPN leagues. Eyes emoji. So
wow,
that's
surprising.
I lost for words. But on Mercedes, it's taken him a while to finally get a chance in the MLB, and he's kind of taking advantage of it at the beginning of the season here. And, it's in 2019 in AAA, that's kind of the closest look that he's really ever gotten. He still had 23 homers, 317, I almost said save percentage. That's a Carter Hutton save
That'd be awesome.
right there.
Oh, God. We're not talking hockey, are we? Is this fantasy hockey or baseball?
Yeah, I couldn't stay away from the Savers. Granado's got me excited again.
Oh, God.
But, the upside with a utility player like him is that people know that his value's low. People know that he can only fit one position on their lineup. They will be kind of eager to get someone who can deliver minimal, like close to the same value, just so that they can throw him in a second base spot, throw him in, the center field or any outfield spot if they can get an outfielder for him. So for that, and the White Sox, they're a streaky lineup, but they have the ability to have big outings, and that's what you're looking for in a utility hitter or just in a depth starter on your fantasy baseball team, when really most of your people that you're starting are replacement level, just because that's how fantasy baseball goes sometimes. Now into sell high, and I know I'm going to bring up a guy that Nick's going to bring up in a little bit for a different reason, and it's not saying I disagree with him at all, but his former high school classman, Steven Matz, is off to a great start with the Blue Jays. Really, really, really is, and one analyst that I really, really like, has him as a buy low right now, and I just could not disagree more. Obviously, he's off to a great start, 6.1 innings pitched, 9 strikeouts. His velocity's through the roof now compared to what he used to do. But I honestly think there's a bigger risk to keeping him on your roster than there is to selling him for what might end up being a slight underpayment, right? Because we've danced the same dance with him before. He starts out good, and then last year he ended with a near 8.0 ERA or something stupid like that. I love the Blue Jays. I'm a big Buffalo Blue Jays guy. Love that we were able to cover them last year up in Seneca One Tower. But I'm kind of it's Steven Matz is just, what you get out of the guy. You really do. And keep him through the weekend. He's worth a start against the Angels this weekend. He's markedly better at home throughout his career. His whip is 1.22 at home, 1.4 on the road. ERA is almost a whole run better at home than on the road. He has more strikeouts, less walks. Keep Steven Matz for the weekend. Trade him for something that will actually bring you value down the road.
Yeah.
That's my rant.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to let you finish it. I was like, holy crap. That was a lot. That was
yeah, no,
I'm proud of you, Wake.
That was by far, nothing else I say will be that long. That was a good part of my Google Doc here. So, Nick, who's someone you want to buy or sell high right now?
Sell high. Evan Longoria.
Hey!
Not to be confused with Eva Longoria, the hottest Desperate Housewife ever. Thank you.
Well, Evan Longoria has 3 home runs obviously in the early stages of the season.
Had another good day today too. Yeah.
What's that?
He had another good day today too. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't see the stats today, so I know going into today he had an 1160 OPS, I think. Mm-hmm. And I think he might be batting 286. I'm not sure what today did to it, but if it might have brought it up if he had another good day. Mm-hmm. Evan Longoria is one of those guys that is past his prime. He hasn't seen a good season in quite a few years at this point. And this guy was an MVP hunter, for probably about 5-6 years. Hasn't been that way since about 5 or 6 years though. So at the end of the day, Evan Longoria, you could sell him for pretty high right now because he's putting up numbers that are not expected of him. But he will not keep these numbers up. I can tell you right now, you're going to watch Evan Longoria in a couple weeks. He's going to be right back down to 240, 250, and he's going to fizzle out and be there. He might put up, 12 to 15 home runs, but you're not going to see the power. You're not going to see the production that he had in the past, and he's not going to be a contact guy. So in my opinion, he doesn't really fit a lineup. So At the end of the day, sell him while he's hot. He's not going to be hot much longer. And that's about it.
Yeah, no, I like that call. Yeah, today he went 2 for 4 with a single and a double, a walk and a strikeout and a run. So if you're doing categories, so far he's been a revelation for you.
There's not a single prediction calculator that has him batting higher than 260 this year.
Wow.
Just to toss it out there. So he's a guy that batted over 310 a few times in his career. So.
Cons, the master batters have 0 pitching wins. Is that good? Asks Ty B.
Yeah, well, my pitching staff, Sixto Sanchez needs to decide if he wants to pitch or not this year. So.
He needs to wake up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sixto.
Good. Anyways, we're going to talk about things that matter. Thanks, Ty B. Just so you guys know, like, Ty B is one of my closest friends, and if I ever act like I'm ever mad at Ty B, I'm never mad at Ty B. It's just we crap talk each other all the time. It's incredible.
I'm wondering how mad you are at him right now.
I'm not mad at him, but there's my sell high right now is Byron Buxton, and the reason I say Byron Buxton is because he was the Twins outfielder. Byron Buxton was the number 1 on MLB Pipeline's mid-season top 100 prospects in 2013. He's a 5-tool outfielder. He could do it all. Fluid swing, he could field, he's got an arm, he could do it all. I am not saying that he is a bad baseball player. So Twins fans, if you're listening, which I don't know, it's probably 5 of you, because I don't know anyone. I'm from Rochester, New York. They used to be with the Twins. Now they're with the Nationals. We knew the team was whatever, so we went to the Nationals. But anyways, Buxton's a great outfielder. He's a 5-tool athlete, can swing the bat well. He's playing real well right now. Right now in 2021, in 14 at-bats, he's got a 357 average, 3 home runs, 4 RBIs. But here's the problem with Byron Buxton is, and Long Island Nick knows, I say this a lot, when you set expectations that high, all fantasy players I got to jump on this guy right now. Okay, well, if you jumped on Byron Buxton, trade him now. Whoever's nipping at your heels for Byron Buxton, get what you can for him. And here is why. There's one other player I'm going to compare him to. Cole Calhoun had a hell of a season last year for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Still one of my favorite players. Was an Anaheim Angel, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Sorry, my bad. And then he went to the Diamondbacks, and he was tearing the cover off the ball. Yep. Everybody was buying Cole Calhoun, and then they couldn't trade him after 2 weeks. If you have Byron Buxton right now, I'm telling you right now, he set the expectations way too high. He's not going to have a terrible season, but he's not a guy that you're going to want to keep in your lineup all the time. Trade him now. Get that pitcher that you need. Ty B, just so you know, I might pick up Byron Buxton if he's on the waiver wire and try to flip him for 2 pitchers. Maybe I'll get my starting pitcher win. And by the way, whatever I said about beers on me, they're on you now. Thank you for that comment, Ty B.
Oh, man, shots being fired here. Ty B's going to keep commenting in the chat. He's going to do his best to throw Kanzi off, so I can't wait to see what he throws out there next. But before we continue, I do have to remind you guys that we are sponsored by Manscaped, the absolute best in men's below-the-waist grooming. They offer precision-engineered tools for your family jewels, and they obsess over their technological developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience and my grooming experience. I use it. Guys, I didn't know I needed a headlight on my razor until I knew I needed a headlight on my razor.
Helps you not cut yourself, man. It guides you.
It guides you.
It's the lighthouse in the difference of a sea of what you're shaving.
Imagine driving in a blizzard without your high beams on. That's what shaving is without a headlight, okay? Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide, so you should become one of them. Join the movement for all your below-the-waist grooming needs. Use promo code Trainwreck for 20% off and free shipping. And now we'll get into the last piece of business for today. I want to talk some pitchers because, especially in category leagues, streaming the right pitchers, adding them at the right times is extremely important. The cons, I know I got a few. You guys both got some. Who's one pitcher that you want to add going into the end of the first week of fantasy baseball season?
I feel bad stealing this one from you, Wake. I really feel bad stealing this one from you. Are you okay if I do it?
What the hell are you doing?
What am I doing? Are you okay if I steal this one from you?
Wait, hold on. No, who said it? To coordinate so we don't cross each other up.
I'm sorry, but I can't not pick this guy. Can I just do it?
I'll take it as a compliment. I'll take it as a compliment.
Julian Merriweather is a guy that I love, and I'll tell you why I love Merriweather. Is because He came in against the Yankees recently and just duffed them, like, through straight gas, and no one could touch him. And you know what?
His fastball's crazy.
One guy on this Yankees baseball team that's having a great season is Gary Sanchez. And Long Island Nick and I talked a lot of crap about Gary Sanchez last year.
Sure did.
So
Guys tearing the cover off the baseball this year. Julian Merriweather said, "Okay, you think you can hit my fastball?" And he had it's like Ty B said, plus fastball. He said, "Here's 98, hit it," and Gary couldn't hit it.
Good luck.
And you know what, man? Julian Merriweather is one of those pitchers where, as a catcher, as a former catcher, what you love about pitchers like Julian Merriweather is when something's not working, he always has something in his repertoire to pick up from. So if he's at a plus fastball, this guy's going to come with a changeup and off-speed pitch that's 86, 83, 84. 70, whatever he throws. So as a catcher, it helps you when you go from that pitcher to the bullpen. That's your guy. So if you see Julian Merriweather out there, you got to pick him. I'm sorry, Wake. I went through every single pitching staff that I could.
Yep.
That's the guy that I picked because I watched him duff our Yankees. Long Island Nick. Sorry, I know Wake's not a big Yankee fan, but Julian Merriweather is my guy if you're looking for a relief pitcher out there.
Yeah, no, like I had to throw him out there because I did add him myself after he got that save, and like what you're looking for right now, there are phases of the MLB season kind of, and what you can learn that can better your fantasy teams. And in the first week or two of the season, maybe even 3 weeks, you're learning about pitching rotations. You're learning about who's going to be the closer, who's going to be the holds guy, who is going to get that final fifth spot in the rotation. And Julian Merriweather, he wasn't absolutely going to be the closer, but he's earned more looks at it. And between his fastball, like Ty B, Cons, myself, Nick, we've all talked about it. His changeup's crazy. His curveball is really good too. He is the guy, and Romano, the guy he's kind of competing against for those closing opportunities, the save opportunities. Not great. He's good. But in my opinion, he's replacement level as a closer, and I think Merriweather has more upside. That's why Cons and I were completely in lockstep there. Nick, are you going to give me only one pitcher to mention, or what's the deal here?
I'll give you one and then a short another. So
I meant were you going to take one away from me? I'm sorry, I worded that.
I'm not going to take one away from you. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised that the ex-catcher crossed you up. I can't believe that. Fonzie, what are you doing, bro? No, it's a great pick. You guys are both spot on. I think Jake, you deserve a finder's fee for that, though.
Thank you. Yeah.
Ty B's a diehard Blue Jays fan. Just so you guys know, if you have any questions, at Ty Buffalo on Twitter, he'll answer all your Blue Jays questions. Guy's great. He's a freaking wizard with this team.
I think Ty B is going to love the two that I'm about to talk about. First one I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray last year looked like he couldn't pitch. Period. Looked like he didn't belong in this league. Right now, this is a guy that has had 200 plus strikeouts in his career quite a few times. So let's talk about Robbie Ray for a second, because at the end of the day, Robbie Ray is going to be on that bump. I know he fell down the stairs. I know he fell down the stairs and got hurt. He'll be back on the bump. They said 10-day injured list. He'll be back on the bump soon. This guy touched 96 in spring training. He's never touched 96 before. So we're seeing a lot from him. A better rotation on his fastball, better spin rate on his breaking stuff. Robbie Ray is a guy he's going to turn a lot of heads this year, and I'm sure Ty B is happy to hear that. Now going to another Blue Jay. Go ahead, Wade. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I'm sure we'll see his comment coming in any second now, and I'll be sure to put it up there. Nick, go ahead. Cons, go ahead. You're going to throw down the fucking hammer.
No, I thought he was going to hammer it right there. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I was going to hammer it there.
All right, Nick, go for it.
One of my good friends, someone I grew up with playing ball with, he's 2 years younger than me, but he always played up, obviously. He's a Major League Baseball player. Steven Matz. Steven Matz has been hit with a couple of injury bugs. Matzy is a great pitcher. You're looking at a guy.
I love Ty B. He just knows. Ready to throw live BP tomorrow. If you didn't know, you know now.
Yeah, breaking news.
So Matzy is a guy that when he broke out in 2015, the team went on their magical run to the World Series. He pitched an unbelievable game against the Cubs to clinch the NLCS. The guy's got great stuff. He just hasn't been healthy. You're seeing his fastball and Wake, you said before, his fastball's never been this hard.
That's true.
It actually was in 2014 and 2015, but it hasn't been that hard in the last 6 years. So to see him back to where he was, it's something that I love to see because he's one of my friends, and you know I grew up letting him blow me away with fastballs and sliders. But I really think if this kid can stay healthy, and I'm saying kid, he's 30 now. If he can stay healthy, Ty B's gonna love the kid. He's gonna love him. Mm-hmm. So that's my second guy. It's a homer pick. I'm sorry.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, my one of my best friends from high school, Matt Minnick, got drafted by the Yanks 26th round, I think 2 years ago now. So, like, I mean, I get rooting for the guys. I mean, as soon as he's available on Yahoo, I'll be adding him. Also, I don't love playing Yahoo. That's just the place that the commissioner runs it, and this is the only fantasy league I'm in that I don't run. So, and
what Ty B said right there is an indicator. You know,
they gave up nothing for him.
That's right. Wait, they just picked him up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, when I say nothing, like, I think, go Jays, yeah, whatever.
What are they paying? Like, he's getting like what, $8 million a year, $9 million a year?
Something. I don't know.
Look it up. He's pitching above his pay grade. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
Right now he is.
As of 6.1 innings into his 2020.
Well, I mean, you never know with these guys. You don't.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You don't. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as we talked about, I think before the show we said that baseball is one of those leagues where it's the drop off in age isn't as short as it is, or isn't as soon as it is in like hockey and football. If your name isn't Tom Brady, Jesus Christ, every other sport, it's so much harder to play into your 30s. But in baseball, that's when you really hit your prime. Is 28 to 32 is what Nick said. Credit him, not me. You can get the finder's fee for that one. I'll take the one for Merriweather.
We'll just take everything from pounds. That's all.
They're perfect. Two guys I'm going to add in here for pitchers. We'll throw it back to Cons to round it out. Mike Mayers, reliever from the Angels. He's already got a save and a win in 4 appearances right now, and he's just going to earn more of those opportunities. He's only given up a run in 1 of his 4 appearances, and it's .64 whip through 4.2 innings pitched. So really high on him. He's on my watch list right now. I tried to add him, but all my players started playing for the day. So I can't add him today. I'm going to do it tomorrow. And then the last guy I'm going to add is Carlos Radon from the White Sox. He's up
great player.
Thank you.
Great player.
The last day of this fantasy week, if your week ends on Sunday, it's the last day of the fantasy week for you to get one more win, some more strikeouts. The Royals, it's hard to say that you regress from your first 2 games of the season, but they put up 25 runs in 2 games and since have 8. So, I mean, the regression's coming. I don't know. It's probably going to spread itself out through that White Sox series. They're not a great team, so the Royals are probably going to rout them one day. But if there's one pitcher in the White Sox staff that I like to hold the Royals to it, I do like Carlos Rodon to do that. And he's available, I think, in 41% of Yahoo leagues he's rostered in. So still more than half. If you can get him, throw him in there, hope for a win an extra category this week. Con's last pitcher for the episode, and we'll close her out.
No pitcher, but I want to bring up one thing before we round out this episode.
So you took my pitcher, and you didn't add a second one.
No, I'm not adding a second pitcher. If you didn't have Nick Castellanos on your fantasy baseball lineup, you messed up.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? And here's why. In Long Island, Nick and I, we go back and forth this. This guy was on base a hell of a time last season. But his Monday shot was the 500th RBI in Castellanos' career. If you told me Nick Castellanos was going to be carrying the Cincinnati Reds right now, I'd have told you, go home. No way. Because when he was with the Tigers, he was okay. But then he gets to the Reds, and he's just bombing them. Okay? Yeah. Now, the problem I have with the whole Castellanos getting suspended for 2 games thing, whatever, the MLB once again comes in and says you can't have a personality, so you're suspended for 2 games.
Yeah.
Good. Appeal it, because Nick Castellanos is what you need right now. This is a guy that nobody knew about 3 years ago unless you were a Detroit Tigers fan, and all of a sudden he's on the Cincinnati Reds bombing him out of there. So I will tell you that Nick Castellanos is saving my fantasy baseball season for my pitchers who haven't gotten me a win yet this season. But Nick Castellanos, moving forward, is a guy that if you don't have on, you're not going to find him on the waiver wire in any league.
No.
He's in a starting lineup. He's in my outfield. Trade Byron Buxton. You know what? I have Bryce Harper on my squad. I might put Bryce Harper on the bench because I'm very disappointed in Bryce Harper's ability to hit the baseball this year. Nick Castellanos, hot commodity. And if you're going to deal Nick Castellanos this year, make sure you get a haul in return. And I'm talking like Jack Eichel haul in return. Okay? That's what I'm saying. All right. So that's my end of the show. Sorry I stole your picture. I just had to bring up Castellanos before I ended the show.
I'm going to need you to apologize at least 3 more times before the next show, just so, I'm
sorry. There you
Not go. Now, Cons. I need it to be on your own. I can't remind you to do it. You have to do it on your own.
All right, fine. We're done.
And now that Castellanos thing has really gotten me into knowing how I'm going to end every show. This has been Trainwreck Fantasy Baseball. As there's a deep drive by Castellanos, this will make it a 4-0 ball game. We will see you next week.